Libra, my dear. What if your greatest win isn't ahead of you but already decided, signed, and sealed by the universe itself? That's what we're diving into today. This is not just another horoscope video. This is your divine notification. Your energetic payout, the one written in silence, in tears, in resilience, is now being processed. And your name, Libra, is on the cosmic check. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. I'm deeply honored you're here, because this message has been waiting to find you. And no, it's not random. The moment you clicked this video, you crossed the threshold of something sacred. A spiritual doorway has opened, and what lies on the other side is nothing short of extraordinary. Libra, you are the keeper of the scales, the zodiac's eternal symbol of justice and balance. And yet, how many times have you been the one to bend, to yield, to keep the peace while your own harmony was sacrificed? You have carried the weight of others' comfort on one end of the scale while your own voice was silenced on the other. You've made peace while aching. You've forgiven without apology. You've given without recognition. But here's what no one told you: the universe never forgets spiritual labor. Every tear you shed in silence. Every night you stayed strong without witness. Every time you let something go in order to protect what little peace you had, it was all recorded. Not in karma points. Not in vague energy. But in divine accounting. Libra, you've been unknowingly building a sacred credit. And today, heaven's response is paid. With interest. This video is a map to that settlement. Not a prediction, but a divine confirmation. You're not hoping anymore. You're collecting. Your soul isn't waiting, it's reclaiming. Let me say this as clearly as I can: your biggest win is not just a blessing. It's justice. It's your spiritual paycheck. And it's coming now. So let me ask you something, Libra. What drew you here, right now, in this very moment? Was it curiosity? Was it a tug on your intuition? Or maybe, just maybe, something inside you knew this message was yours? If so, I invite you to confirm that knowing. Drop a comment below and write, "I receive my divine payout." Let the universe witness your readiness. Let your soul sign the receipt. I also want to take a moment to thank you. Truly. Every time you like, comment, or subscribe, you're not just supporting this channel, you're becoming part of a soul family, a collective of awakened Libra hearts, helping this message travel further, reach deeper, and shine brighter. Your support means everything. And it fuels our ability to continue delivering these transformative downloads, directly to the ones who need them most. And trust me, Libra. Today's message is one you'll want to stay with until the very last second. What the universe is revealing to you in this reading is beyond mere fortune, it's legacy. It's cosmic restoration. It's sacred repayment for what no one else saw but heaven always did. So get comfortable. Take a breath. You've arrived exactly where you need to be. Let's begin. There's something remarkably tender about the tears no one sees. The moments when you chose silence over retaliation, grace over bitterness, peace over proving a point. Libra, your soul has known these crossroads far too many times. And if you felt that your kindness was taken for weakness, or that your loyalty was met with betrayal, you're not alone and you're not mistaken. What you've carried wasn't invisible. It was sacred. And in this part of your journey, we begin to understand how every drop of pain, every silent endurance, was not a low sit, was a deposit. You see, astrologically, Libra has recently been under the influence of Uranus and Saturn in ways that challenge the core of your identity. Uranus, the Great Awakener, has disrupted old beliefs about your worth and how much you're allowed to receive. Saturn, the strict teacher, has demanded maturity in how you protect your inner resources, your time, your energy, your boundaries. It has been a slow unraveling of patterns where you've given far more than you've received, yet felt guilty to want more. And now, the cosmic weather is shifting. You're being prepared not to suffer more but to receive more. To allow yourself to believe that every sacrifice made in silence wasn't ignored. It was documented in full. We often underestimate the spiritual power of restraint. When you chose not to retaliate, when you chose to forgive and walk away rather than prove yourself, when you chose to keep loving people who couldn't return it, you weren't weak. You were standing in an invisible kind of strength, the kind that echoes louder in heaven than any loud retaliation ever could on earth. And while the world didn't send you thank you notes or compensation, something higher was taking inventory. Every tear you cried into your pillow became part of a sacred record. And now, as the scales begin to shift in your favor, it's important to acknowledge that your softness never disqualified you, qualified you. There's an old wisdom that says, the ones who are misunderstood the most are often the ones carrying the purest intentions. Maybe you felt that. Maybe there were seasons where you were painted as too emotional, too sensitive, too much. But the truth is, people often reject what they don't understand, and your grace, your light, was never meant to be understood by everyone. It was meant to bless the right ones, and now, you are entering a chapter where those right ones are about to find you. Not just people, but circumstances. Resources. New chapters that don't ask you to explain why you deserve them, they'll simply offer themselves because it is time. If it helps, think of every hurtful situation you endured as a line in a divine ledger. And now, the universe has opened that book not to punish anyone but to rebalance the scales. You're not here to get revenge. You're here to receive restoration. And sometimes, the most powerful redemption is quiet. It's not in the noise of winning, it's in the peace of knowing you no longer have to fight. I gently encourage you to take some time this week to write just for you. No filters, no edits. Write down those moments when you forgave without being asked, when you showed up for others while being ignored, when you cried but still kept going. These aren't just memories. They are proof. Proof that you have walked through storms and still protected your softness. Think of your words as receipts, not of what you lost, but of what is finally coming back around. And if you feel ready, share something in the comments below. Just one moment where you chose kindness over anger, peace over revenge. Not to be praised, but to be free. This act of sharing is not for validation, it's your soul's quiet way of saying, I remember, and I'm ready to release. Sometimes we don't even realize how long we've been surviving until the moment we're no longer being ruled by the fear of not having enough. And that, Libra, is the truest form of wealth. Not the numbers in a bank account. Not the applause or the trophies. But the inner shift where your choices are no longer dictated by scarcity, but by alignment. Where you're no longer navigating life from a place of desperation, but from discernment and peace. This is what it really means to become rich, to reclaim your power to choose. You see, in the language of energy, abundance is not something you chase. It's something you receive when you stop identifying with lack. And for you, Libra, the keeper of balance, the quiet guardian of harmony, this chapter of your life is asking you to redefine what success actually feels like. It's not about gaining status so others approve of you. It's about walking into a room and not needing to be understood. It's about knowing what's yours cannot be taken, and what isn't meant for you will never be forced. Astrologically, this is a powerful turning point. The influence of past transits may have taught you painful lessons about overgiving, about putting your needs last, about confusing harmony with self-erasure. But now, as the cosmic tides shift, you are being invited to embody a new kind of wealth, one where your yes comes from desire, not obligation, and your no longer carries guilt. That's what true freedom looks like. In self-help and emotional healing work, there's a term for this evolution: sovereignty. It's the state where you're no longer reactive, no longer begging for crumbs of love, no longer chasing approval you don't need. And while the world may celebrate financial millionaires, I want to remind you that the spiritual millionaire has something far more lasting: the ability to sleep without pretending, to love without control, and to walk away without collapsing. That is wealth no one can steal from you. You may have felt, over the years, like life stripped you of certain things. Like you lost your sense of safety. Like you were uprooted, again and again, until you forgot what solid ground even felt like. But if you've been robbed of anything, Libra, it was only to prepare the soil for something greater. The image that comes to mind is a soul's farmland where someone once trespassed and stole your seeds. But what they didn't realize is that your hands still remember how to plant. And now, the entire field is being returned to you, not just with new seeds, but with the right conditions for the harvest you were always meant to reap. In tarot, the Empress, your spiritual archetype, doesn't hustle or force. She attracts. She nourishes. She trusts in timing and knows that her value is not up for debate. She creates beauty not by controlling it, but by cultivating space for it to emerge naturally. And this, dear Libra, is the energy you're now stepping into. Not through effort alone, but through trust in yourself, in what's unfolding, and in your ability to respond with grace, not panic. If you've ever felt like you had to prove your worth to be chosen, know this: this time, you're being chosen because you no longer feel the need to prove. That's how the divine payout works. It comes not when you beg for it, but when you're finally ready to receive it, not just in your hands, but in your beliefs. So, if this resonates with where you are right now, I invite you to claim it. Type 888 in the comments, not for luck, but as your own energetic signature that you're ready to receive the interest on what you once gave with no return. You are no longer operating under emotional debt. You are a spiritual millionaire, Libra, and this is only the beginning. There's a certain grace in choosing silence over spectacle, in choosing dignity over defense. Libra, your journey has always existed between two realms: the seen and the unseen, the spoken and the restrained. While the world may have looked at your quiet strength and mistaken it for passivity, what they missed is the precision with which you've held your ground. You didn't just walk through the fire, you did it without screaming. And that has a power few understand. But just because it was quiet doesn't mean it went unnoticed. Energetically, what's happening now is a form of divine rebalancing. Not the kind that arrives with trumpets and applause, but the slow, surgical kind, clean, undeniable, irreversible. You see, in astrology, Libra is the sign that walks beside judgment without absorbing its weight. The scales you carry were never just symbols of fairness for others. They've also been tools of cosmic measurement, quietly assessing what has been taken from you and what must now be returned. When you remained kind in the face of cruelty, when you chose grace instead of revenge, you weren't just being good, you were preserving your energetic integrity. And in doing so, you unknowingly triggered a much bigger process. Life has a way of revealing truth in its own time. Sometimes that comes through a slip of the tongue, an email sent to the wrong address, or a sudden shift in public perception. But none of it is random. It's the inevitable surfacing of what was always buried. And it often happens just when you've stopped expecting justice altogether. There's something beautiful about that timing, isn't there? The moment you release your grip on needing an apology, needing clarity, needing to be believed, that's when truth starts to move. That's when the karmic tides begin to turn, not because you demanded them to, but because you no longer need them to define your peace. And this, Libra, is exactly where you are now. You're no longer waiting for things to be set right. Things are simply aligning because you are no longer in energetic debt. We can look at this from a practical, non-spiritual lens too. When you carry yourself with self-respect and composure, even through conflict, people may not acknowledge it immediately. But over time, the contrast becomes too obvious to ignore. Those who once doubted you begin to notice what you never had to say. And those who underestimated you begin to feel the void where your light used to be. That's when they realize, the version of you they dismissed was the version holding everything together. It's not about karma in the dramatic, movie script sense. It's about energy correcting itself when the imbalance becomes unsustainable. It's like gravity, it doesn't need to announce itself, but it will always pull things back into truth. And now, things are being pulled back into truth for you. Not just emotionally, but physically through restored opportunities, unexpected revelations, and yes, sometimes through the quiet downfall of those who built false narratives. If you've ever seen someone expose themselves without you lifting a finger, someone who once painted you as the problem slowly unravel in front of others, you know exactly what this feels like. It isn't vengeance. It's clarity. And clarity doesn't humiliate, it frees. That's the kind of vindication you're receiving now. Not because you went looking for it, but because you outlasted the illusion. Take this moment to reflect on what you've witnessed in your own life. Maybe you've seen patterns shift, masks fall off, or truths rise to the surface in ways that surprise you. If you have, feel free to share it in the comments. Write, I've seen the fall of the false, not as judgment, but as confirmation that the energy around you is doing exactly what it was meant to: reveal, restore, and rebalance. And as you continue forward, may you walk knowing that your quiet truth has always been enough. There's something incredibly tender about your heart, dear Libra. You've been conditioned to feel that ease must be earned through struggle, and that joy is only valid when it follows suffering. But that's not the divine equation. Ease is not a mistake. Ease is a sign that you are finally aligned with the flow of universal grace. What if life was never meant to be a battlefield? What if you're not meant to live in survival mode forever? Right now, a sacred shift is happening inside of you, and with it comes the invitation to release guilt over the blessings that are arriving. You are not selfish for receiving. You are not undeserving because others still struggle. You are simply in your season. As the energy of balance and sacred justice, Libra carries within it the heart of cosmic order. Yet this very gift can become a burden when it causes you to internalize the pain of others. There's a fine line between compassion and codependency. And now, the universe is gently drawing that line for you. You've spent enough time sacrificing your own light to keep others warm. You don't need to apologize for outgrowing the versions of yourself that were built in reaction to someone else's suffering. You don't owe your former shadows a second chance to dim your glow. You've paid your karmic dues. You've stayed kind when others were cruel. You've given when you barely had anything left for yourself. And now, you're being asked to step fully into the chapter where you receive not just spiritual blessings, but material ones too. You see, in numerology, Libra resonates with the number 6, the vibration of harmony, family, and love. But true harmony cannot exist where you're constantly suppressing your needs for the sake of peace. Real peace doesn't ask you to shrink, to smile when your soul is aching, or to pour from an empty cup. Real peace comes when you finally stop negotiating your worth and start living as if you are already enough because you are. Divine favor has found you, not because you begged for it, but because you become the kind of person who can carry abundance with grace and integrity. The doors are opening not because you forced them to, but because you become the kind of soul that is no longer afraid to walk through them. And yes, they will return. The old energies, the familiar voices from the past, the ones who once benefited from your lack of boundaries, they will feel the shift, and they will try to pull you back. But remember this, they are not drawn to the healed you, they're drawn to the part of you that used to make room for their chaos. You are no longer their safe haven. You are no longer a sanctuary for their storms. That era has ended. This is the season where you choose silence over explanation. Stillness over chasing. Boundaries over apologies. The spiritual lesson now is this: you are allowed to rest in the ease of being chosen. You are allowed to thrive without shame. There is no need to feel guilty for no longer being accessible to people who refuse to grow. Choosing yourself is not abandonment, it is divine agreement. And if these words awaken something inside you, speak your truth into the universe. Comment, "I no longer owe anyone my darkness," to affirm your freedom. Let the energy echo. Let your clarity speak louder than your history. You're not betraying your past. You're honoring your future. And it's about time. Libra, there's something sacred about the timing of this message. The universe does not fund ordinary moments, it funds turning points. What's coming your way is not just a financial increase, but a divine investment into the next version of your life. You're not simply receiving money. You're receiving backing for your soul's mission. The payout is not a reward for being lucky, it's a spiritual budget for your next assignment on earth. And your only job now is to be ready to use it wisely, from a place of alignment and love. You may have been told that money is about spending or saving. But in truth, money is a form of concentrated energy. It amplifies whatever vibration it touches. When it flows into the hands of someone like you, a Libra with a big heart, a gentle soul, and a desire to uplift others, it becomes something far more powerful. It becomes purpose in motion. And this is exactly why the universe is now opening this energetic portal for you. You're being entrusted with resources to build, to serve, and to lead with light. Let's talk about your health, because the body is the vessel that must hold this next chapter. Magnesium and B vitamins are not just supplements, they're cellular reminders that your nervous system is safe enough now to relax, to sleep, and to restore. If you've been carrying unspoken anxiety about whether you can handle the level of success that's coming, take a deep breath. This version of abundance won't burn you out. It will strengthen you. Take 10 quiet minutes each night to meditate in stillness. That's when the instructions arrive. In your career, take the risk you've been avoiding. There's a spiritual window now open over opportunities that previously felt blocked. Send that email. Apply to that job. Ask for that meeting. Energetically, the door that once said, "Not yet," now reads, "Welcome." Trust that the system has shifted and you are now qualified, not because your resume changed but because you did. As for your finances, turn your money into a prayer. Light a candle, open a new notebook, and begin tracking your income and spending with reverence. Every number you write is a declaration to the universe: I'm ready to be responsible with this gift. This is no longer about survival. It's about stewardship. Every dollar is a seed, and your words, your attention, and your gratitude are the sunlight. And in love, say what's been stuck in your heart. Even if your voice shakes, even if your words stumble, speak the truth that wants to be freed. Vulnerability is your wealth now. The universe is aligning relationships that will last decades, but only if they're built on realness. The next chapter of your heart is too precious for pretending. You don't need perfect words, just honest ones. So now, let me ask you, how will you use this divine financial blessing? What would you build, give, or heal if money was no longer the issue? I want you to write it down in the comments, not just for yourself, but to activate that energy field within and around you. When you declare your intention publicly, the vibration begins to crystallize. This is not just a wish, it's an energetic instruction to the universe. Your biggest win is not the money itself. It's the person you'll become because of how you choose to use it. And that person is already awakening. Dear Libra, you are not just chosen, you are the living testimony of how the cosmic law of balance finally delivers what is rightfully yours. From the very first breath you took in this lifetime, your soul began accumulating what the world often forgets to honor: silent resilience, unpaid kindness, invisible sacrifices. You paid in full, not with gold, but with endurance, with compassion, with hope that refused to die. And now, the cosmic court has finally ruled in your favor. This is not a lottery win. It's not a lucky break. It's a divine settlement. And you are the beneficiary. That deep ache you once felt when the world didn't see your worth? That was the overdraft of your soul's account being processed through tests only the strong can survive. But you didn't just survive, you matured. You grew. You turned your wounds into wisdom, your loneliness into leadership, your rejection into redirection. And now, your biggest win is not a gamble. It's a divine payout. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. So I ask you now, Libra, will you finally allow yourself to receive? Will you stop apologizing for your abundance, for your breakthrough, for the life that is about to overflow into every area of your being? Because this moment, this very season, is where your name gets called in the hall of divine reward. Not because you begged. Not because you manipulated. But because you stayed aligned. You passed the test. You did not betray your soul. And now, money is not just coming, it's coming with meaning. Love is not just coming, it's coming with safety. Opportunities are not just showing up, they're showing up with timing, support, and purpose. The truth is, the payout isn't just financial. It's spiritual, emotional, relational. It's holistic. This is your season of return. There's no one else you need to be. There's nothing else you need to prove. The version of you watching this video right now is already worthy. And maybe the most radical act of healing you can do today is to finally let it all in. Now pause. Breathe. And ask yourself, what would it feel like to live without guilt for being chosen? What would shift if you stopped fearing success and started welcoming it? This isn't just about becoming a millionaire, it's about becoming whole. So Libra, if this message speaks to the deepest part of your spirit, type 777 in the comments to align with the divine receipt of your soul's payout. Let the universe see that you are not hesitating anymore. And write this declaration in the comments if you're ready to stand tall in your new reality. I give myself permission to be wealthy, and I will not apologize for it. Your comment becomes an energetic contract. Your action becomes an anchor. You are not manifesting alone, you're becoming part of a powerful system of light and truth, where healing is real and breakthroughs are sacred. If you felt seen, affirmed, and called forward in today's message, please like this video, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and most importantly, share your story. You never know who might be waiting for your words to step into their own blessing. This is no longer about survival. This is your arrival. Welcome to the other side of pain. Welcome to the divine payout you earned with every silent yes. We're so proud of you.